Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. As you may have guessed with this one, my cough that I had is gone, but my throat is still kind of recovering a little bit with this one, so bear with me with this video. So for this one, we are going to head back up towards Gothenburg once again, Göteborg you should say in Swedish, and we're going to revisit a brewery who you've seen me review a number of different things from. So for this one, we are going to head back to Stigbergets Bryggeri, and this time we're having a taste of their new and improved IPA, which comes in at 6.5%. So this particular beer is a redeveloped version of the GBG Beer Week beer they did, which I keep forgetting the year of this. I think it was 2016 that they released that one, and that of course was one of the beers that really shot Stigbergets to fame, and Ole Anderson of course with the Narangi and his OO brewing. But this is a redeveloped version of that, like I said, and this one is hopped with Citra, Galaxy, and also Enigma is in this one as well. I believe the original one might have been Citra, Simcoe, and Nelson Sauvin. I think it was those three hops that were in it. So of course the Galaxy hop gives you a little bit more of a pineapple-y thing along with the passion fruit. The Simcoe is kind of straight up passion fruit. The Nelson Sauvin of course is really well known for its grapey, it's very distinctive white grapey flavours, but the Enigma of course is kind of grapey like that too, but it has a little bit of a kind of raspberry-ish red fruit sort of thing as well, which is really interesting. So yeah, very curious to see how this beer turns out. I've heard good things about this one, very highly rated on Rate Beer, 100 within the style and 99 overall when I checked it out. Very highly rated on Untappd and Beer Advocate as well. So this one should be a really interesting review, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So we'll see how we get on with this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Stigbergets Bryggeri before. No doubt I will have some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. I do realise I sound like someone who smoked about 50 a day for my whole life actually. It's quite funny. But yeah, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Stigbergets Bryggeri are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg you should say in Swedish, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair own two bars that share the same kitchen. This is Bar Kino and Hagabjörn's Cafe, which are located on the Linnegatan street in the city, and both of these opened back in 2007. So originally the idea was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, but this very quickly led to them kegging and selling their beers to other pubs, and eventually to bottling them as well, which began in November of 2014. So the original beers were mainly English and German styles, but more recently of course they've been expanding into the more hoppy American beer styles. They started out with a 1000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, but they upgraded to a 2000 litre JTM system from Denmark in December of 2015, and they were working to double that capacity as well. But Niels and Richard are joined at the brewery by two brewers and another three people who deal with like logistics, packaging and other things. But the original head brewer was Ole Anderson, who is the co-owner of OO Brewing. He's returned to basically focus on that company himself, and they're doing very well, and he was replaced by Barnaby Struve, who was vice president of Three Floyds for a period of time. But they've also recently opened up a new brewery in the Partihalana where they brew 5,000 litres at a time, and they're also beginning to work on some sour beers as well. So I really look forward to seeing more of that from Stigbergets actually. But they're also selling their beers, they've only just started selling their beers recently in these 440ml cans, and this means that they're able to export a lot more beers as well. But they now have a brew team of Ollie Banks, who formerly used to work for Beavertown in London, quite a well-known brewery as well, and also Lucas Monroyd, who used to work for All In Brewing, who are one of the well-known gypsy brewers around the Gothenburg area. Gothenburg of course is the beer city when it comes to Sweden. There's a hell of a lot of gypsy brewing goes on around there, as well as kind of regular brewing. You know, Stigbergets Bryggeri and Stigbergets are very well known. There's Bearded Rabbit, there's Beer Bibliotek, there's a lot of different craft breweries up in Gothenburg, so it's somewhere that if you're interested in craft beer you really do need to go and have a look at. So hopefully I can get up there at some point soon and do some craft beer tastings and things like that. That would be very cool. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Stigbergets Bryggeri just now. There's lots of really interesting beers from these guys. They're mainly an IPA focused brewery, so if you get the chance, do have a go at them. They've got a few cans that haven't been released yet through Stigbergets here in Sweden, but hopefully I can pick those up in Copenhagen the next time I go over there. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself, and I'll turn off the brewery notes now. But yeah, like I said, this one is a 6.5% IPA. Based on the original GBG beer they did back in 2016. The hops in this one are Citra, Galaxy and Enigma. Galaxy and Enigma, like I said, are from Australia. Galaxy, a little bit different from the Simcoe in the original one, a little bit more kind of pineapple-y, tropical complexities to it rather than straight up passion fruit. And the Enigma, as I said, has a sort of red fruity edge to it, whereas the original Nelson Sauvin was just grapes. But yeah, really looking forward to trying this beer then. The artwork on this one actually reminds me of the artwork that's on Narangi, the original one that Ole Anderson did for OO Brewing. I think that's really kind of interesting actually now that I think about it. But yeah, that orange dot really reminds me of the Narangi. But yeah, nice kind of plain artwork on this one. There you can see on the side this little writing piece here, Stigbergets, that is the symbol of the Stigbergets Bryggeri there. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Very curious to see how this one turns out. Nice little bit of smoke on the opening there, and we'll get it out and into the glass. So yeah, New England IPA this one. And there you go. There's still a little bit left in the can, but we can put that in a little bit later. That's a bit of an aggressive pour, but that will settle down after a little while. But as you can see with this beer, it's poured a nice kind of hazy, bright, goldeny, very slightly orange, but mainly a more yellow colour, this one. So there's a solid 2.5 fingers of a frothy white head on this one. It does have a little bit of a cream tint to it, to be fair, but mainly a kind of white head on this one. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does actually look very, very nice. It looks pretty much as you would expect, and pretty much like, you know, the Muddle and the other sort of beers that I've had from Stigbergets before. So yeah, nothing surprising in terms of appearance of this beer. It looks exactly as you would expect a New England IPA to. But let's have a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh. That smells like a beautiful beer. You know, Nelson Sauvin is one of my favourite hops, and you know, when I discovered the Enigma, that quickly became one of my favourite hops in terms of aroma as well. You really can smell these nice sort of green grapey notes. I believe it's Pinot Gris. I'm not a wine sommelier by any stretch of the imagination, but I believe it's Pinot Gris grapes that these ones are, that the Enigma hop is supposed to smell like. But you get this lovely, you know, greeny white, however you want to describe it, green white grapey quality out of this beer. And one thing I absolutely love is grape juice. You know, the Japanese grape juice with the slightly more acidic soil that they have is just beautiful. But yeah, with this one, it's straight up. First thing you can notice when you go into the aroma of this beer is those grapey notes. Lovely white green grapes. You can smell a little bit of the fruity edge to it. There's a little bit of a sharper kind of raspberry-ish note in there which you can pick up. There's also some kind of, it's almost like a kind of slightly melony note or something. Well, maybe not melons. It's maybe more of a kind of candied red fruity figgy sort of thing that's coming out of this beer as well, which is really nice. Definitely some passion fruits, which will be the Galaxy in there too. You can smell a little bit of pineapple mixing in with that, and the mangoes from the Citra are coming out nicely. And you can also pick up some of these more kind of complexities that you would expect from the Citra as well. Citra will always give you a little bit of a gooseberry note, which is mixing really nice with the sort of grapey elements to this beer. And there's also a little bit of lychee in there, which mixes with these other things that are going on in the layers. I think the Citra and the Enigma are a very, very kind of good pairing, and of course Galaxy has a little bit of complexity as well. So I've got a feeling this beer will have a really nice kind of tropical base to it, but then when you start to get further into the aftertaste, you're going to start getting the gooseberries, the lychees and things like this. I think it's going to be have a really nice aftertaste, this beer, and a nice tropical hit in the beginning, to be honest. In terms of the grassy floral side of the hops, I would say that this beer is It's more, it has a bit of a floral edge to it, but mainly it's leaning towards the grassy side of things, but there is a little bit of spice to the floral note in there, and I think that will be the Galaxy and the Enigma that's giving it that. The Aussie hops do tend to have a little bit of a kind of spicy edge to them, so just beware of that. Underneath though, you can definitely smell some of that oaty creaminess that these Stigbergets beers have become well known for. Nice little bit, you can smell a little bit of the kind of wheaty white bread sort of thing too, and there's maybe just a little touch of like of biscuit or something in there as well. But to me, this smells like a very, very nice beer, and I'm looking forward to having a taste. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this then. So this is the new and improved Stigbergets India Pale Ale at 6.5%, New England style IPA from these guys up in Gothenburg. Let's get stuck into this beer. Slange, skål. Oh yeah, that's pretty damn fresh as well. It's still got a nice kind of hoppy, bitter edge to it, I think. Yeah. I'll say straight away, you know, this is a really nice beer. Thumbs up to Stigbergets for this. So let's try and break this down a little bit. So yeah, middle of your palate then, as you would expect, you've got a nice kind of white, wheaty, bready quality. That just blankets the middle of your palate. On top of that, you start to get some of these more kind of creamy, oaty flavours coming out of this beer. You can feel it's almost just a little touch sweet actually, which was always for me the kind of signature of these Stigbergets beers. They always just had a little, almost like a little touch of an oat milk sort of thing, just an oat milk sweetness to their malt bases, and right in the centre of the palate there's a little bit of a kind of biscuity sort of thing with this beer as well. So the malt base is very straight up, but it is well balanced, and it agrees very nicely with the rest of the beer. But of course the New England IPAs are all about the kind of hoppy, juicy sort of thing, and to me, just based on memory, this one is coming across as as I would say, just a little bit more bitter than I remember the GBG beer being Narangi or Muddle actually. Being an amazing haze, of course, is the other one that I'm forgetting. This one to me just has a little bit more IBUs to it. I guess it's maybe up around the kind of 40-ish mark on this rather than the 30. I think that Stigbergets usually do as their kind of standard. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, a little bit of earthiness in the back corners of the palate. Smooths out a little bit as you come further forward, and then right on, you know, on the kind of front edges of the tongue, it starts to get a little bit kind of nicely floral and spicy. There is a good little bit of a spicy note to this beer. Then around the very front curve of the palate, it's lighter and grassy, but at the same time, you can definitely detect some of these nice kind of floral, spicy notes coming out of the beer. So it is lighter, but definitely a floral element to this beer as well. So yeah, with this one, I would say when you go behind the front curve of the tongue, of course, you get a little bit of that kind of oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. For me, the passion fruit from the Galaxy is forming the base of this one. You can pick up a little touch of grapefruit at the back of the that as well, and that's you know, that is quite nice. I just like how it's got that slightly darker edge to it as well. You can pick up the mangoes just further towards the front of the tongue too, which is really, really nice. And then when you, as I was predicting with this beer, it's got a nice tropical base to it, but the further and further into the aftertaste you go, the more complexities from these different fruits that you start to get out of it. You can pick up a little bit of pineapple in there, which will be coming from the Galaxy. I've always found Galaxy gives you that little bit of pineapple in there, but right on the kind of front edges of the tongue, if you like, that's where those kind of grapey flavours from the Enigma are coming out, and the further into the aftertaste you go, you get a little bit of gooseberry, you get a little bit of lychee in there, and you're also getting some of these red fruity characteristics from from the Enigma as well. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a kind of nice, you know, there's definitely a little bit of a nice kind of candied red fruit, like a candied strawberry sort of thing. I always say this, but it reminds me of these little heart-shaped sweets that you get in the Haribo Star Mix. It does have a little element of that to it. There is a little bit of a raspberry sharpness to this one. Raspberry, not raspberry, sharpness to it. But yeah, I like how all these red fruity esters are coming out. This beer, definitely for me, it's a very smooth New England IPA. It's got a little bit more kind of floral, spicy note to it, and it's got a good tropical base, but you get these lovely kind of fruity complexities coming out of this one the further into the aftertaste you go. So in my mind, big thumbs up to Stigbergets for this one. They have certainly done a nice job of this, and it does remind me of the original GBG one, but obviously they've just changed. As far as I remember, they've changed two of the hops around. I can't remember if the original one used, it was either used Simcoe or it did actually use the Galaxy. I think they've just changed a couple of the hops around. I don't think there's much else different about this beer than that, unless they've played with the malt varieties or something a little bit just to tune it up. But yeah, a really, really nice beer, this one. I was glad to be able to taste this one for you on the channel. It really is quite nice. I saw this one being released when I was actually in England, and I was disappointed that I couldn't try it. But yeah, this is really good, and I'm a bit sad I missed out on it. But an absolutely solid beer. This is kind of what you'd really expect from Stigbergets, and I would definitely say that this is better than the other ones that I've had from them in the last couple of Stigbergets videos that I've done. This is a really just beautifully done beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, mid-bodied, carbonation's very smooth, it's almost a little bit creamy, which is what you would expect from the New England IPAs, but it's got a little touch of an oily note to it as well. In terms of the bitterness, I would think this one's around 40 IBUs. This one definitely has a little bit more of a bitter kick to it than I remember the other Stigbergets ones happen. I would guess it's 40 rather than the kind of 30-ish IBUs that you would normally get for a New England IPA, between 20 and 30 for a New England IPA, I always remember. But yeah, nice kind of juicy fruity nose to this one. I really like how everything is balanced in this. Tropical fruit at the start, then you start to get the grapey gooseberry notes, and then you've also got the lychee and the red fruity notes kind of coming out a little bit more on the sort of tip of the palate there. But yeah, really nicely balanced beer, this one, and I'm glad I was able to try it. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Stigbergets new and improved IPA from Gothenburg in Sweden. A really, really nice beer, and I recommend that you have a go at this one if you get the chance. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Stigbergets as well, and hopefully I can return to these guys in the fairly near future, and hopefully I don't sound like I've smoked 50 a day for 20 years in my next video. You know, this cough, or this all this rubbish in my throat will hopefully be gone by the next time. But yeah, really, really nice beer, and I hope you guys have the chance to try this as well. So until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you try this one if you get the chance, and I do recommend as well the amazing haze from these guys too. So until the next time, Slange just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Skål.